Here's a story no one asked me to tell, but I'm going to tell it anyway. I read a story about a couple, and they had been together since they were teenagers. They fell in love almost immediately. It was one of those romantic stories. And one of the things that they did when they got married, because they couldn't afford wedding rings, is they asked relatives, would you please give us your old jewelry, old gold, we're gonna have it melted down and make 2 identical wedding rings. And they did. And then they had some special message, she never said what that was, but it was identical in each ring, and that's what they used. At about 35 years, unfortunately, the man was diagnosed with cancer. Now, he was this big guy. He had been a truck driver his whole life. He loved what he did. And he thought, well, I mean, I am strong. I can beat this. But unfortunately, he didn't. And he had lost lots and lots of weight from all of the treatment. And as he lost weight, he didn't realize just how much smaller his hands had gotten. And one day he walked in and told his wife, you're not going to believe this, I lost my wedding ring. So they looked everywhere, outside. At this point, he wasn't driving trucks anymore. They looked inside, they looked in the attic, they looked in the garage, they looked everywhere, and they could not find this wedding ring. So time went on, and a few months later, he was on hospice and laying in bed, and his wife was obviously distraught. And she said to him, as she was talking to him every day, and finally one of the things she said was, how am I going to find you? And he looks up at her and said something seemingly profound, but at the time she took it as just like nonsense words. And he said, you'll find me between the music notes. That's where I'll be. And she thought, okay, what's this truck driver guy, husband, burly guy of mine telling me this? So she really thought it was just he's talking out of his head. He did pass away, and she never found the ring. And it was around their 38th wedding anniversary that she decided, I don't want to be in the house. I'm going to go to my sister's house in another state because I don't want to be by myself for my anniversary. So she went to her sister's house, which was surrounded by lots of forest, and she went for a walk one day, and she sat and she was listening to music. She had her headphones on, and she suddenly realized that between the music notes is where there is peace, and where there is peace, that's where heaven lives. And she realized that her husband wasn't just speaking nonsense. He was telling her where you would find peace. And she did. So she turned around and she decided to go home for her 38th wedding anniversary. She decided, no, I need to be in our home. So she went home, the garage door opened up, and as it opened up, she saw something shiny on the ground. Now, she lived by herself. She pulled her car in. She thought, was that like a bolt or something, like laying on the ground? It's flashing. She opened her car door, and right there was her husband's wedding ring, sitting right there on the ground. She picked it up. She couldn't believe it. She wore it around her neck for the rest of her life. And she believed that she found that peacefulness, like he said, between the music notes. And I thought, okay, I listened to the story and kind of just like put it in the back of my head. And then a couple of weeks ago, I was listening to a guy named Wayne Dyer, and I was listening on YouTube. And I don't agree with everything he says, but some of the things, like what I'm going to tell you, is pretty profound. And he says, if you want to find heaven, if you want to find peace, listen to the sound and the feel from when one note stops and the other begins. So I'm going to say that again for the guys in the back. If you want to find peace, like quick peace, you're having a rough day, it's anxiety filled, you're just, how do people say be happy? How do you do that? Close your eyes, listen to a song of piano kind of song, not like, I mean, I love rap music too, but you know, you're probably not going to find it there. And listen to when one key is played and the other begins, that gap. And just give yourself a few seconds. I've done it, and it works. And I told my son about it. He's like, wow, that is so true. And this peace will come over you. I just had to share this with y'all. I just had to share this incredible story of not only how her husband told her that, and then she did it, but also that I was like a non-believer, and then I heard it again and tried it. So if you're having a rough day and you need a little something, try it. I bet you'll like it. You're going to come back and tell me. You know you are. Have a good day.